Passion our purpose, profit our pain.
I don't ever want my name to be in vain.
A life full of substance is the only thing that will remain the same.
Millennial thoughts.
Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girls, Alieshia,
And hey, y'all, it's your girl Sabriya.
and we are back with another episode, as we promised, part two of beauty standards and mental health. But first, let me share with y'all the millennial mogul, the one and only Jennifer Hudson. Okay, y'all. So Jennifer Hudson is the youngest African American in history to win an Oscar. Now, if that's not groundbreaking, I don't know what else is, okay? And she's also the youngest woman in history to complete the EGOT. Now, if you don't know what the EGOT is, let me tell you, okay? So an EGOT is an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. If you don't
Whew.
know what all that means, you can research it or whatever, but um it's music, acting, all that, whatever she does. So honestly, like she's a triple threat too, as we were saying last episode about Kiki Palmer. And she is also of a darker skin complexion a little bit. She is from Chicago, and so I know Chicago is like
Chicago.
and stuff like that, huh?
I love it. Chicago. I
Oh,
like to do my little Chicago accent.
but she made it and she's doing good, and she has her own talk show now. I'm really iffy about the talk show, but hey, get it how she live it. And I'm just really like proud that she's able to even have a talk show. You know how we talk about different things in society and just seeing what's going on and how we navigate this world. I am very happy to be like, yay, she is our millennial mogul for the week. So yeah, just wanted to share that with you all. And if y'all like her, if y'all listen to her, let me know, because baby, she can sing down. Okay?
Mhm.
She can sing for real, for real. So that is our millennial mogul of the week. And then I'm going to give it to Sabrina.
Yes, talking about navigating life, we got to go back to our therapy toolkit. And so it's the Girl What's Up segment. And so, as you know, for those who are listening and maybe those who are new, our Girl What's Up segment is an opportunity to explore a therapy toolkit card that pretty much prompts a random topic that we have to talk about together and answer and just share our life's insights, our life experiences. So, this is just, in essence, an opportunity for you to get to know a little bit more about us and for you to also think about your life and think about your well-being and your mental health and how this topic aligns with your world and how you navigate the world. So, Alieshia, are you ready for me to pull the random card that literally neither one of us know what we're going to talk about
I'm
to
always
decide?
nervous.
Yes, our girl, what's up? Okay, you ready?
Yes.
All right, girl, what's up? Ooh, this one is about parents. When
Hmm.
you think about the dynamics in your life with your parents, girl, what's up? What comes up to mind? What's your relationship like with your parents?
That is a deep question, a deep conversation.
Loaded question, right? It's a loaded one.
Yeah. And so, I don't know if people know I'm a writer, but I'm thinking about writing something about that. So I can't share too much, but I can give a little bit about
Okay.
my relationship with my parents. I would say that it is definitely an interesting dynamic. I'm the youngest of three and I'm the only girl. Um, so when people hear that, they're like, "Oh, you're spoiled, you're spoiled." I'm like, "No, I'm not spoiled." So, no. I would say that though growing up, my dad was in the military, so my dad was always gone, so I was around my mom a lot. Well, I have boys, and so you already know that dynamic. I would most likely probably say that growing up, I was a daddy's girl more. And now I'm getting older. I don't think I'm a daddy's girl or mama's girl, but I think I'm closer with my dad just because we have more in common. We talk about different things, and he really is like a supportive parent, and I think he tries to help and share, different things. And so I think that our relationship is like okay. And I do stuff with my dad all the time. So it's kind of like we have more of a relationship, I would say, more of a relationship versus like with my mom, I definitely think it's more of a parent, like I'm your mom, that's it. So I would say that. And growing up, in the house, like, I'm your mom, not your little friend. Da, 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 da. So I think
Mm-hmm.
within that, it's just like she's just a mother figure. You don't have a relationship, as in like nothing built. There's no foundation because all it is like, I'm your mom. I'm not your friend. I'm not like here to be cool with you or whatever. So I would say that versus my dad when we were younger, he would kind of do things with us to like kind of build in that relationship or something like that. So I think that is kind of where I'm at with my parents.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot in common with you. I actually grew up in a military town, Fort Bragg, Fayetteville, area. So that was like a popular meal. That's like one of the biggest bases but they call it Fort Liberty now. So they changed it, but it's one of the biggest bases here in the United States. I think because Bragg was a Confederate soldier and whatnot. So they're trying to make a change with all the base
So they're trying
names
to
and
make a
stuff.
liberty.
Yeah, so they called it Fort Liberty now. And so it's interesting because I think about my upbringing. My parents were divorced growing up. And so they divorced when I was pretty young. And so I don't really remember a lot of them being together, anyways. My mom, my dad lived nearby, but he traveled a lot for work. I think he was like a truck driver. And then at one point, he had taken a teaching job that required him to travel. And so I just remember just being very parentified. So I was the opposite to you, the inverse. I was the oldest and I had younger brothers. And so I found myself kind of like being like having to play the parent role because my mom worked a lot. She was a teacher. She was gone a lot. And so I taught him how to read and all those things. And so I remember it being kind of hard for me to like think about being a parent growing up because I guess me experiencing feeling like I had to be the parent or be the put together one was hard. And my mom was pretty lax. I would say she was probably more of like the really lax parent, like like just in her own world. I think that in some ways, maybe she missed out on elements of her childhood. So I feel like she kind of, maybe she kind of tried to relive that now as an adult in some ways. Whereas
Mhm.
my dad, he tried to parent, but I think because he wasn't around enough, it was kind of like, why are we going to listen to you? Like, you're not even home with us to even know what's happening. So I remember like, he didn't want me to get a car at first, and I was like 16, but I was like, you have no idea how responsible, what I've had to do, all the things I've maintained in my life. Like, you have no idea what I have done to get here. And so I remember getting so frustrated, and my mom ended up still getting me the car anyway. So that was a very complex relationship with them. I mean, the crazy thing is, though, as I'm one of those people, I'm very blessed because my parents are divorced, yet they have a very good relationship. And so, like, we used to go on family vacations where they'd still both come, even though they were divorced. And so, I also feel like that changed my view of like marriage. Like, I was less afraid of, I mean, not that I want to get a divorce, like, we don't even use that word in our household, but I'm not afraid of that as much because I know co-parenting can be done nicely. It can be done right. Not saying they don't argue, but it can be done where you can be both very loving, involved parents with your kids. So I think
Great
that's a good topic.
that you had a healthy co-parent because now even with social media, it's like they're arguing, they on social media, they doing all this, da 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 da. So that's crazy. But
Yeah, I am so blessed not to have been in that drama. And speaking of our topic, ironically, we're talking about body image and beauty standards in regards to our mental health. And I remember growing up, one of the biggest things that kind of came up with my mom, like my mom, she kind of came from a very like her family was like very country, and they're very like honest in a way, but like not like it's not always like honest like in a way that's like desirable, right? And so I remember just growing up, like how it was like, oh, you gained a little bit of weight, everybody's going to talk about it, everybody's like, oh, what's going on with you. And so I remember my mom was kind of like growing up, my mom maybe she was very like sensitive of like how I looked and presented in the world, because I wonder if sometimes she dealt with a lot of that stuff growing up and then her insecurities. And I remember that passing along to me. Like, that's one thing. I mean, we have my mom and I, we've had our complicated relationship, but I think we have a really pretty good one now. But I just remember how, like, I feel like that shaped even my perception of like how I look and carry myself in a day to day. So that's something that I just want to share as we kind of get ready to go into our topic.
yeah, I would say that I would kind of think it was opposite in a way. My parents are married. My parents, like this year, they've been married for 35 years. So,
Wow.
yeah, so I have a different perception even with marriage and stuff like that. And so, growing up in a two-parent household, definitely is a blessing because I know everybody doesn't get it. But I kind of have like the twofold kind of. I don't know if my parents were strict, but they was like stern. It's like, okay, go to school, okay, get good grades and stuff like that. So then it's like when I was younger, I would just know like to go to school, like that's when I would be writing and stuff like that. That's kind of how I got into that. And it's like they didn't play about like education and church and stuff like that. Like they did not play, you gotta go to church, you gotta go education, whatever, stuff like that. But I would say that my dad, I feel like he kind of I would say like responsibility and stuff like that. Like he knows that I'm going to do things. So like when we was younger, like I said, my dad was in the military. He like gave us that's the first time I had an email. He gave us an AOL account. He would take he would help us start like a savings account for like Christmas and stuff like that, like opening up a bank account and different things like that. So I feel like I would learn different things from them. And so just like navigating the world, like how I said, like I'm the one that travels the most or whatever. Somebody has like, he knows I'm responsible, he knows I'm going to take care of my stuff. I was like, hey, can I go to France? He's like, yes, and stuff like that. So I feel like he like kind of see like, oh, what do you like to do and different things like that. Like he takes that initiative, but also he is like put together. He was in the military, so it's like be on time. So I'm literally like, that's me, like I'm an on time person, like be presentable. Sometimes I'll be too tired, but like, wear this or iron your clothes. I ain't got time to iron my clothes, baby. I ain't got time. Get
I
up on
feel you.
Saturday mornings to clean the house, baby. I ain't got time to do that. But
Whew.
like seeing that, and so I guess like being instilled like and instilling like morals and values and stuff like that. Whereas my mom, well, they both was raised as single parents or whatever, but my mom was more like this is why I feel like I couldn't get with it. She's like, you're gonna get married, you're gonna have a husband, you're gonna have to cook for your husband. And I'm like, girl, I don't want to learn how to cook for no man. Like I'm not even thinking about a man because you talking about don't even worry about men. But it was like she would use that to kind of like get me to want to cook or something like that. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have a chef, so no, thank you. Now, do I have a chef? No, but do I have a man? No, I'm not gonna get all right. And so I just feel like some of those things that kind of like can go into like your self-esteem and like body image kind of, but not really, but like self-esteem and stuff like that. It's like, oh, am I only worthy for a man? Just like that's why I don't know, like just to cook for a man, like who say I want to do that?
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
And then my brothers didn't learn how to cook, but are they married? No. So it's like you're using that to be like, oh, cook for a man, like learn how to cook for a man. It's just like, no, like they know how to cook, and these men know how to cook out here. So I feel like that whole thing was like,
And I think the upbringing too, like especially like traditional Black moms, is like, oh, like don't be like you think a man's gonna like you doing fill in the blank. I think that's a phrase. I don't know if you grew up on that phrase, but like I remember being like, no man's gonna want somebody who does blah 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 blah, and just dealing with that. I
mhm,
think that was a unhealthy way to consider like what it can mean to be a partner for someone, right? Like it's not saying don't take care of yourself, but it's just this idea that like your value is only
for a
if
man,
someone wants you. And
self-esteem. Mhm.
yeah.
That ties into self-esteem. And then if you don't get it, but then I'm like, y'all say man, 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 but baby, I looking at all the aunts, I don't see nobody married. That's just me.
The
That's
aunts,
just
yep,
me. Ain't
I
nobody married. Ain't nobody married, but y'all gotta say this, say that, whatever. But yeah, and so that goes into like being valued by a man. So it's kind of like, no, I don't want to just be valued as a man. For some reason, I knew maybe because I did grow up independent. I guess men don't like that, but like I knew my only value was not for a man. And so that's kind of how I knew, and that's kind of how I grew up in it. Like my value is not just for a man, but granted to you, I love kids. I like watch kids, but I didn't grow up having to watch kids. So I can see how like if I was like a parent, I'm like, no, I don't want kids. I just did that at the kindness of my heart. I like kids. They're fun. I do want to be a parent. I didn't have to, because I was the youngest. I probably I don't even know what I was doing. Like, I didn't have to watch myself. My
You were the
brother,
babysat one.
yeah, yeah, so they probably want kids because of me, but baby, and I was the youngest, I already had a mouth. I'm like, you're not gonna talk to me like this. You're not gonna do this. I was just like, you're not gonna talk to me like this. And that could be something like, who are you? Like, who do you think? Like, no,
And you
I'm
didn't
not
take no
gonna.
mess.
Yeah, I ain't take no mess, and I still don't take no mess. Like that's just me at the core. Like I don't take no mess. So like they probably hated watching me or something like that. Like, no, you're not gonna treat me like this. And so then within that, it's just like that kind of goes into who you are. But yeah, like that growing up, like, oh yeah, do this for a minute, do this for like where the man ain't in sight, baby. I don't have no time. So going into like that affect your mental health is like self-esteem when you feel like you're only validated by a man, that goes into your self-esteem, and that also goes into your body image. Like, oh, should I wear this? Should I wear that? What does my body look like? What do you see in different things like that? And
Yeah,
kind of just not like I kind of just try to take that out because growing up you're teased about different things like that and everything that's going on. So I also feel like that really can affect your mental health
it
with
can.
relationships with your parents, how your upbringing goes, that ties into your self-esteem. And that's when I was speaking about like in the last episode or whatever, my mom couldn't really probably relate to me because she's not darker skin. People think that she's white or something like that. So she's not building me up like, oh, you're beautiful. Versus when I see these like videos on social media and stuff like that, when they're like telling their kids affirmations, like it is so cute, it's something like that. But who's to say I don't know how she grew up? I don't know what it was like, how she grew up,
Yeah.
it's really lighter. So I don't know in a sense, and I lived in Iowa, well, that's like a white state basically, you know. So I don't know what it was like when she grew up. But it's like something that she can't relate to me, so she really couldn't help me.
And it's hard to give empathy for, yeah, and I can see that. I think also thinking about, like, our moms, I wonder, if they receive that type of affirmations and empathy. I think this is a newer thing for our mental health in this, like, generation. We're getting really more thoughtful about how we speak to ourselves and how we speak to our children. I mean, so I'm like going into this topic of, body image. I work with clients, who struggle with it. I've struggled with it. I think about, growing up, I was conventionally skinny, in the fact that, I had that, the skinny physique, and I didn't really have to struggle with that growing up. But I remember, just how quick that changed when I went to college, and how, after college starts to settle down, your metabolism slows down, right? And just dealing with, so like for me, every micro change I saw, it was really hard, because I was not used to just being like, I was so used to being that conventionally, active, fit kid. And then now I'm like, not that, even I'm like not in the perfect BMI, which that's BMI, the whole thing, which I don't even necessarily agree with it because of cultures and race. It doesn't consider a lot of factors. But I think for me, I'm just thinking about, like, I think my mom didn't really know how to support me on that, because I think that, she was dealing with her own struggles and thinking about the upbringing. And I think that, I want to share some stuff, later on today. I'm going to share a technique that you can ask for in your therapy, should you go, to help you with body image. So remind me to come back to that at the end. I'll put that as a reminder for me. And I want to say that, I think that body image for me is just something that is beyond just like your weight. I think it's just even your shape. And one thing that I kind of learned growing up is that, and now that I'm older, is that you don't get to pick your shape per se. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you can pick, where to slim down or where you want to add cardio or whatever, but like in general, I feel like we all have a unique shapes. And I wish that we had talked more about that growing up. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Like this idea of, like, there's the apple shape and there's the pear and all these things. Like, we all have our own unique shapes, and like those are kind of our set points.
So to your point about the shape, I think that is kind of where we're hindered at growing up. No, growing up. I feel like that's where we're hindered at right now. Because when you think about shapes, who does that affect? Women.
Women, you don't know, like, what are man shapes? Like, I mean, besides like the dad bod, I guess we
Where
talk about, but like, like we
that
don't ever
bottom,
talk about,
that
we don't,
bottom, what's
and
that?
they still get girls like dad bods still are fine. But you're right. Like, women, we have like a billion shapes and sizes and things that, it's interesting. You're right. We're labeled so much more.
Yeah, and so it's like, what is this? Who cares if you're apple shape? Who cares if you're pear? Like, who cares about the shapes? And so
Yeah.
I think that even goes into your self-esteem, because if I'm not, when you're younger, you don't have no shape. You're just, I mean, you're big or you're skinny in a sense, like you're big, but now it's like, okay, you're thick, okay, you're that, like whatever. Inclusive words, I understand, but it's just like, why do we even have to label something a shape? Why does it have to be, I'm an apple shape, I'm a pear shape. Oh, I want to get this, I want to get that. Okay, everybody know the girls want the big booties. Okay, now it's team no waist, now it's team no this, and
Oh,
so it's just like it's so much ingrained, and it's like, where are you seeing this at? What are you learning? And that affects girls' self-esteem even when they're younger and stuff like that. It goes in what you're seeing. Okay, and now this whole culture, this BBL culture and stuff like that. Like, okay,
oh
I want
my
my body
gosh.
to
And
be
then
like,
you don't even know nowadays. The surgeries are so good that you literally don't know. Well, sometimes it's obvious, but like, it's to a point where I think our sense of reality of what like the ideal shape even is, I don't even know what that is anymore, because we don't know what a regular
made up
person
now.
looks like.
It's made up now is this. And it's like, and then it's also like, why, to your thing, why do you want that big old booty? Is it for the male gaze or is it for you? I get granted, like,
Ooh.
you don't, and you might want a bigger butt, but like, what are we attracting? What are we trying to get? And so then this whole idea of like, well, women don't want to be seen for their body. But when we're the women who are doing it, like, apple,
Hmm.
are you apple shape? Are you pear shape? I'm trying to get a Coke bottle shape. I'm trying, like, what is all these? And it's like, we are still under the patriarch society of like, let's try to not like the male gaze, what I'm trying to say, but it's like we're civilizing ourselves, we're civilizing ourselves as we only care about the beauty on the outside or something like that. It's like we have our
Yeah.
beauty on the outside, but there's no beauty within. So it's going back to I want to look good, I want to look good, but I'll be like, well, what about your mental health? What about your self-esteem? Like you
Like, are
can look
you
good on
empty
the
inside?
outside, but what are you looking like? What's your body image, and your body is changing. And I also feel so sad because it's like when women have babies, it's like men don't really have that like empathy or something like that. They never have to go through it. So you want these girls to have all these babies, and then y'all just treat them so dirty, and that goes into parts postpartum, and that affects people's self-esteem. I'm like, they had a whole baby, they had your whole child, and you're gonna sit there and talk about what they like their body now.
And then there's the snapback culture, right? Like I think that I've even had the anxiety of like, oh, if I have a child later, like will I snap back? That is sad that I'm even thinking about, that because some people, their genetics, yes, like they are naturally able to do a little bit of breastfeeding and they're back to like their original pre-baby size. And some people, it takes a lot more because the way the fat has distributed later on, the way their body has changed, it's going to take longer to be able to get that. And I feel like that's one of the most popular things in celebrity culture of how fast can you get back to your pre-baby weight? How good can you look? Like Kiki Palmer, for example, we talked about her as a millennial mogul. She snapped back beautifully. And that was an amazing thing
Had
for her.
boobs and butt. She was like, yes, she was
It
embracing.
was great for her. And but some people, they still have that baby pooch that lasts a little bit longer and it takes longer to get it back how you want it. And I think it's just really hard and it's really disheartening and it's overwhelming because not only are we losing the beauty of just childbirth, now it's coming into, now there's more rules and things you need to do to look a certain way. And even with celebrities, like nowadays, we're all like people are working out saying, I want a body like so and so. But do you know if they've gotten cool sculpting to make themselves have a certain shape? Cool sculpting is non-invasive, non-surgical. They can lose weight on certain parts of their body that they specifically target. So how do you know if you're trying to work for something that actually exists or if it's something, or can your body even get to that shape? And I think that it's a really big pressure that I think we carry as women to be a certain Coke bottle, whatever shape that I don't know. There's only a few people I feel like that actually just naturally have it, quite frankly.
Yeah, and that's why like the celebrities, like looking at them is crazy. Some have surgery, some don't have surgery. You don't know who has it. I'm like, y'all doing these workouts, like, did they have surgery though? And they over here doing this workout and they selling you something. Like that's what it is.
Yes. Like
So
we
it's
think
like,
about the Ozempic, like the people that were doing the Ozempic to lose weight. They're
mhm,
telling they're the one promoting some product and then but they took an Ozempic, and it's not, I'm not here to judge people who to take medication to lose weight. That could be a very important part, but we know that that's a whole controversy, right? Because that's technically a diabetes drug. But it's really hard, right? When I think about it, you're right. Like, how do we know that people are like kind of like Kylie with the lip plump? That was a great example. Remember when she sold all out? No judgment to Kylie Kardashian and her grind. But remember she sold out on those lip thingies and how to get these big juicy black girl,
got
mostly
lip
cultural
filler.
women lips. And she had lip fillers. So
Mhm.
everybody wanted Kylie lips, but they weren't actually real. And it was like hard for
No.
me to understand the
Mhm.
chaos for something where literally her lips were lip plumpers. I don't
And I'm
know.
like, and we're looking at them for beauty standards. That's a whole nother conversation.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other thing, right?
Yeah, but even back to your point about the women and having kids, it's like we are showing like people are having surgery at 21, 22, 23, or whatever. Like, first of all, it's like, how are you even affording that in a sense? Like, if you can't afford it, then you feel bad because you don't have this, you don't have that. But also, with the childbirth thing, it's something that's like, oh, after I have kids, yeah, my hips spread, yeah, my boobs got big, whatever. So it's like sometimes, well, if you want kids, you're not even allowing yourself to even get into that mental state to have your body be something because they do say that
Oh,
like
that's
when
true.
you get pregnant, after you get pregnant, you get bigger boobs, your hips spread, like you kind of sometimes fill out, or even like you're 20, like let your body fill out, like how you said now your metabolism do get a little slower, stuff like that. But it's like you're literally growing, you're literally getting older. Like you might not have the booty at 20, but dang, let the booty come at 25 instead of trying to get the booty at 22.
You're right. That's
And
a
then you
real
gotta be
thing.
working out and everything. Like, ugh, it's like crazy to me. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Cameron.
I used to be so embarrassed about my shape. I used to feel like I was like, everybody calls you chalkboard when you're growing up, right? That was kind of something that I dealt with. And I remember just praying, to have more of a woman physique, right? Just praying for the womanly shape growing up. And it was just so sad when I look back, because you do get older and you do fill in and you do evolve and you do change. And I think that, I'm learning to fall in love with my body in every phase that it's in. I think that's a really big part of it. Like I'm learning to like fall in love with the phases. Yes, I don't, I'm not the same physique that I was then, but just learning to love, like you said, wherever you are at any time. And I think that one thing that I wish that people would understand is that we don't even know what somebody's experiencing behind the scenes. You don't know what illness they're struggling with. Like, for example, remember Selena Gomez? I'm bringing up some celebrities that are kind of mainstream with that. Remember, she, has a belly and sometimes in certain things, and turns out her lupus causes her to have bloating. So yeah, all these people are making her feel so horrible when people don't even realize that people are going through battles that you have no idea about. I mean, people who have sometimes you end up finding out you have ovarian tumors. I mean, regardless, like you have issues with your insulin, you're having issues with your thyroid. Thyroids affect your weight. And so I wish that people would be more considerate too of the thought of that. You don't even know what that person's experiencing for you to decide.
Well, that's the whole thing about the one who died, T'Challa Chadwick Boseman. And then it's like, okay, y'all have people have
Oh
about
yeah.
bigger people, but it's like, but then when they lose weight, you still got something to say. So it's like if they bigger or they lose weight, you still got something to say. And then also like, oh, bigger means that you're unhealthy, something like that. Well, some skinny people are not healthy either, whatever. And then there's so many symptoms. I don't know about what men get. I guess men can get lupus, but I don't know. Like, yes, I know people who have lupus. People are having surgery. Like people are having cancer. Like people, there's so
Yes.
many different I would say like illnesses, how you were saying illnesses and diseases. There's something else that I can't think about, but it's something that affects it, like your body and something like that. Lupus is a big one. But oh, in general, just like endometriosis, like what are they called? What are these type of diseases called? Autoimmune diseases. Like
Autoimmune, yeah.
so like there's so many diseases that can help you gain weight, lose weight, and stuff like that. But that does tie into your body image. And then when there's so much things about like, oh, you gotta look like this, you gotta be a size 2, you gotta be a size 3, or whatever. But that's why I was saying, even society and culture changes. Now they want thick girls, but guess what? Now you can only be thick if you have a Coke girl bottle size. Well, what the heck is a Coke girl shape? Coke body shape or whatever. So it's just like you kind of just gotta like be your own beauty standard, your own self image.
I love that. Be your own beauty center.
Yeah, because like everything will change. Society will change. This will change. They'll say this, they'll say that. Like we were talking about in the episode before, darker skin wasn't deemed as anything. Now darker skin is kind of plastered or whatever. I don't know if it's because to consumerism or whatever. So it's like these different things always ever changing. So it's kind of like you got to just figure out who you want to be wherever it's not on social media. How you said, love yourself, even with your hair. Like hair was a big thing. I wasn't natural until high school, whatever. But it's like, oh, I don't want this, nappy hair or whatever. Like my mom grew up on relaxers and stuff like that. I played sports in school, so relaxers didn't really work for me.
Same.
But that goes like relaxers didn't work for me because you sweat out your relaxer. So okay, now you get braids, and so then ever since I was like natural before natural was even something. I should have started.
I love that.
But yeah, like I was natural in high school, but that was because I had braids and stuff like that, and I wasn't gonna get a relaxer because they all that other stuff that they say. But so like in college, I was like, I'm natural, I'm natural. People are like, I'm gonna go natural. I'm like, well, I'm natural now. Like I'm gonna love my hair. And people are like, oh, your hair is so pretty now. Do I wear it out that much? No, because it takes a lot of work. So I do wear my hair, like I wear my natural hair, but I do wear, I'm trying to say protective styles just because I want to. But I could pop out my hair if I want to. It could be curly, it could be nice, but it's also going back into and like loving, why do I want to be natural? Why do I like taking back your power and who you are? Like, no, am I
I love
because they
that.
said I have to be relaxed? Like, I don't want a relaxed style hair. I want to wear natural hair. I can wear whatever I want. That's why when you were asking about preferences, I'm like, sometimes I wear my hair natural, sometimes I gotta weave, sometimes I'm gonna have a bust down, sometimes I have braids. Like, so the whoever's
It
with
just
you, man,
depends.
woman, they should love you for who you are and what you want to be. It shouldn't take a hairstyle to not like for them not to like you or for them not to
Because
consider.
my husband be seeing me looking like something like somebody business, like what has happened to me. And I'm like, how do you still want to hang out with me today? And
Mm-hmm.
you know what's funny? I'm actually in the process of going on to my natural hair journey. I love that you bring this up because body image is more than just our physical body, right? It's our hair, it's our features, it's so many factors. I mean, we have only scratched the surface today, y'all, to be frankly honest. We're just sharing kind of our thoughts and our experiences. But even I'm in the process of natural, so it looks very straight. But ironically, I learned the art of the silk press, and that has been an amazing tool to add on where you can take and have your like my natural hair is straight as heck in the root right now. I'm probably natural to about here or so. I'm still working on it, and so every time I've done my hair, I've been cutting out because like the relaxed pieces are like real straight and weird and
Mm-hmm.
stringy, and then the rest is like the nice curly when it's all
Mm-hmm.
wet. So I'm able to like over time, I'm like slowly chopping. And one of these days, I'm going to get to the curl and it's just going to be that. And one thing I would say, like, just kind of to bring all of this home, is that there's a thing in therapy. So kind of going to the therapy corner, I'm kind of going to like take us to the therapy corner as we kind of move towards the end of this episode. It's this idea that healthy at every size is a treatment intervention that I've actually done with clients in the therapy setting, and that I also recommend that you do some research on to either do for yourself or to take to. I really recommend doing it with a therapist or a mental health professional. It's this concept that there was a study that was done. I think it was in the 2000s, in 2006 or so, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture did a study on women who were conventionally overweight, based on their, the medical records and whatnot. And so they did a 2-year weight loss program. And what it was is they had a traditional weight loss program where the women had to lose physical weight and had to do like dieting and do all these certain things to lose weight. And then there was another group of women who were really taught to eat more intuitively and eat just healthier and just kind of try to really listen to their bodies more. So it was more of like asking them to consider, what was happening in their heart and mind, what were their triggers for wanting to binge eat, like helping them really just kind of monitor their eating behaviors and really modify it to be more of a empowerment environment, empowerment. So what they did is after 6 months from the study, believe it or not, the women who were on the traditional dieting plan, they gained the weight after 2 years
Mm.
versus, because they did like a check-in. And so the women who did the other plan where it was more so changing like their thought about eating, changing their relationship with food and just eating more nutritiously and more intuitively, they actually maintain the weight loss. And so the healthy at every size movement, it's a treatment strategy that you can actually, get where you can learn how to really work on looking at yourself as an individual person with your own weight journey. Because even with research, they're saying that most times diets don't work because your body's genetics may not be conducive for the diet. Your height, your skin color, your body type will vary. Like I think about like my Samoan friends. Samoan friends are going to have a naturally bigger build. All my friends who were Samoan growing up, they were never conventionally skinny. And so it's not to say you can't be, but it's just that's everybody, even your race and gender. So the research says that everybody has a set point weight, right? Like we all have a set point. And it's actually controlled by the brain, our hypothalamus. I'm getting real sciencey here, but the hypothalamus is what regulates our feeling of hunger and like the feeling of fullness after we eat. So learning how to like regulate that hypothalamus and learning how to be in tune with our body and really trust when we feel fullness can be a way to help us. And so I think that's the biggest thing that I want people to know is that there are better ways to approach your health and your weight. It can start by changing your relationship with food and talking to a nutritionist or a therapist to help you figure out how to navigate that. So that was a long thing to say that weight loss is complex. Your weight is complex, your body is complex. And I think that we should stop simplifying our bodies for the sake of society's pleasure at this point.
Hmm. Definitely. Just real quick, what made you go natural? Was it something with body image, self-esteem, or was it just like you just wanted to go?
It was more so something that I'm on this whole thing. So even there's a whole thing about birth control, right? So birth control actually, can affect your weight. It actually deeply, I haven't taken it for over 10 years. And I realized that, I was like, who am I? Like really like, who am I with my like personality? And I noticed in these last, like it was like the last 2 years, I noticed that there were times that I was feeling rage or anger. And I'm gonna get to the hair, trust me, I'll get there. But the rage and the anger I was feeling, I couldn't understand and pinpoint where these emotions were coming from. And I started doing more and more research on the element of birth control as I've noticed a lot more research has come out. And I came to find out that it really affects your personality, affects your hormones, it affects how you show up. And so I made that transition to try to be a little bit more natural and really moving to my natural body. And I think that the hair piece was kind of just something that also followed. I had saw the research with the cancer, relaxers, and all these things that's coming out. And I have been a relaxer person my whole life. And so I think that just realizing that my body is enough, like I have the right chemicals and hormones that I need, like my hair, it was what it was supposed, it's what it's supposed to be. No judgment to those who get relaxers. I understand it makes your hair real convenient, girl, no judgment. But I also understand that there are alternatives to get your hair that way. I mean, there's so many other treatments you can get. I have this new natural hair shampoo that I use that has been great. It's like called 12 Butte. Now I can't, speak for other people. It might not work for you, but it has made my hair texture manageable, and it's all natural plant-based products, and it's been game changing. So I think the change was more than just it was just taking control of myself, taking control of my body, taking control of like the fact that my body, my hair, my follicles, everything is producing what it needs to produce, and I can trust that.
Yes, I love that. You should share that with me, or you can share it with listeners. Ain't no free promo out here, but I'm just playing. But if it works for you, but that's good. And I think that actually that kind of like wraps up what this whole thing is about: body image, self esteem, like knowing like what you were, whatever you believe in God, like knowing like you were created for a purpose and like you have everything that you need. You don't need. Honestly, I'm not even trying to be funny. Everything is about capitalism. Everything's about consumerism. Why do you think that they are selling these things to, oh, go get your body done. Oh, go get your this. Oh, go get your that. Yeah, I get it. Like if you get in an accident, you get your face messed up, different things like that, or you need to like be able to do um surgery for something, but it's like, why are they selling this to you? Why do they think that we need it? Not saying that everybody doesn't do surgery and different things like that, but just like think about what your self esteem is. Like I said in the last episode, affirmations or just thinking about how you can take back your power. I think that that's really good. So if you relax and you want to go natural, girl, go on YouTube. They got everything for you. If you want to change your body image, if you don't like your body image, what ways can I do this? What ways can I work? There's like workouts and stuff like that. If you want a bigger booty, bigger, whatever, smaller. It's like there are natural ways and there's different things that you can do. Now, if you have your money and your resources, you can go out and change however you want to, but also knowing that like at the end of the day, where do your morals and values lie? And wherever that lies, that's how you want to go out and, speak on it, on your self-esteem, on your body image, and forget shapes, forget sizes, forget all that. Okay, attract what you want to be and what you want to see. And I
Mhm.
think that once you do that, your self-esteem will be out the roof, your body will be good, and doing it for yourself and not always for the outer appearance gaze could be really well as well. Not saying that I don't want you not that I'm saying that I want you to be ugly out here or whatever, not ugly, like don't want you to be attractive to people, but I think that you have to be attractive within yourself, and
Yeah,
then figure that out, then, you can figure those next things out. And we talked early in the episode about parent relationships. We talked about upbringing, different things like that. So if that's something that you want to tap into, thinking about how your upbringing affects where you're at, thinking about your
that is
parents,
big.
thinking about how you was raised, thinking about what you seen, what you went through. As and we said, I my parents are still married. As Sabriya said, her parents was divorced. Those could be different experiences and how we see relationships, how we see our image, how we see what we're going on, how we have brothers. We're the only girls. Oh my gosh. And so I really wish I had an older sister, but I don't, and neither does Sabria. But even that, if you are the older sister, thinking about how you can maybe help your younger sister and different things like that and navigating that. Because as we know, our parents wasn't into all that when they were growing up. But I would love to have an older sister, because it's like I could see what she did. She could teach me. She could share. Sally, I can't. And having older brothers, it's a it's a different dynamic, I would say.
Oh yeah, it's different. Brothers are just different for a
Yeah,
girl.
yeah, it's a different dynamic. So I'm not gonna be like, oh, what should I do, whatever. But it's like if you had an older sister, they could tell you that. Or if I had a younger sister, it would help me like share things with her, talk about different things. So I also want this to kind of be like a supportive thing to like help you figure out what you want to do and where you want to be. And then also just being the best version of yourself to either help some other young girls, your siblings, or whoever, or just for you to know that like you matter no matter the your size or your body image,
I
and
love it.
create your own standard, as I be saying, and live your life to the fullest. So
Alicia's thoughts are just fire. That right there, that was everything. And just remembering that your body is enough. I mean, one last plug I want to talk about is, the unfortunate passing. I know Jacqueline Smith, she was just one of many who have passed from
she was
BBLs and
my
other.
favorite. Not to
Yes.
like she's my favorite. Like I don't even really care for influencers, but like she was my favorite one, and she's
And
down to earth and everything, and it's
and
just
it's just it was heartbreaking, right? Just thinking about, like, and I know that we all have good intentions, and it's heartbreaking that that was her story. And just know that, it's not here to say that you shouldn't do those type of treatments. Is, you have to make the best choice for yourself, but just remember that your body was created so beautifully and so intricately. We are built so beautifully and so
We
intricately.
women, we can have babies. Okay.
Yes, we're so complex. Like we are not simplified beings. And so just remember that, and the journey. So I thank y'all for listening. This is a really, I know this topic is just, it brings a lot of feelings for people.
And the last thing I do want to say, speaking about the Jackie O, speaking about these things, um, you have to watch what you listen to. You have to be mindful of what you listen to. That can affect your self-esteem and your body image. Podcasts are out here, not this podcast because we talk real, but podcasts are out here for entertainment. They're out here to laugh, to do whatever, to invoke it. Do not listen to these podcasts. I had to tell my guy friend, like, I'm protecting my peace as you. Don't send me stuff. I don't care. We're not going back and forth. Don't listen to stuff that's going to affect your self-esteem. That's going to bring you down. That's going to bring your body image down. Like, oh, you need to do this. Oh, you need to do this to get a man. Oh, you need to do this to get like, no, no, like protect your peace, protect your self-image, and listen to stuff that's going to uplift you. Listen to stuff that's going to, keep you in a good headspace. Don't listen to stuff that's going to be negative and have a negative effect on your mental health. That's another thing too. Music videos, songs, music, whatever, like don't let that consume you and take you down a negative spiral. So that's my last tidbit. That's my last
Yeah.
thought.
Thank you so much, Alicia. I love it. I love it. We are just vibing here. So feel free to comment in the comments, across our feeds. What is your relationship with body image? How does, your features, your hair, your body shape, your relationship with food, all those things, how does all that come up in your life, or how has that affected you? We love to hear and we love to support you. Thanks for listening as usual.
Yes, thank you all. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you give us a review, share with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, type us something in the comments, follow us on Instagram, and we are here to chat back with y'all. Hopefully, y'all are enjoying this. So, thank y'all so much. Whenever you listen to this, have a great rest of your day, night, or morning. Bye.
Bye.